It is Wednesday, the 24th of July, 2024. My name is Pigeon Rose, and this is my song of the day. We're continuing on talking about songs from 69 Love Songs by the Magnetic Fields. Today we're talking about maybe a bit of a dark horse. It's the song Grand Canyon. It's the 6th track on CD 2, and I feel like it's kind of a hidden gem a bit. It's a very simple song, very short song, very little lyrics, so I can understand maybe why it doesn't catch everyone's attention as much as Lucky Sky on the Lower East Side or Book of Love or something, but this song has just always stood out to me. It's got a very specific sound, and the lyrics are great. And yeah, I just really like it. So, I mean, this will probably be the shortest episode of this week, but that's fine. We're just going to listen to it now and then come back in a few minutes and talk about it. Like I said, very short, but there's a lot going on there. The thing you'll notice right away after the initial little drummy intro, that sound. That is a weird ass sound, but I really like it. It's kind of what drew me to this song, drew my interest, you know. If it was just him and a guitar or a ukulele, it would still sound good, but that's what makes it kind of unique. And they've performed it like that, of course, with a more stripped down arrangement, but I really like it this way. It's just got so many different sounds going on. I don't know how many are synth and how many are actual instruments, but you can hear things like, sometimes the drums sound like bells, there might be some strings in there, you know, there's a lot going on here, and of course you got the ukulele at the center of it, because it's Stephen Merritt. This one is Stephen Merritt on vocals, and I mean, he has a very distinct voice. You wouldn't mistake that for anything else. I remember when I first listened to this album, I thought all of the male vocals were the same person, all the female vocals were the same person, so I just thought there was two singers, but no, it's very clear now when you listen to it who's who, because they all have quite distinct voices. Yeah, the music kind of stays the same throughout, but with all these different weird layers, and then it ends on that kind of held, which I enjoy. The lyrics, if I was the Grand Canyon, I'd echo everything you say, but I'm just me, I'm only me, and you used to love me that way, so you know how to love me that way. That first sentence, if I was the Grand Canyon, I'd echo everything you say, it's very sweet, it's very, like, over-the-top romantic sort of statement, you know. If I was the Grand Canyon, I'd echo everything you say. Like, I want people to hear what you say. I want to repeat what you want to hear. It's a pretty over-the-top romantic gesture sort of a statement. And then you get, but I'm just me, I'm only me. So he's like being self-deprecating here. He's like, oh, you know, oh, if I was this, I could do this, but I'm not, I'm just me. And then you used to love me that way, so you know how to love me that way. Then it gets that twist on it that Stephen Merritt likes to do with his lyrics, where he's saying, like, I can't do this big romantic gesture for you because I'm just me, but you used to do this for me, and because you used to do this for me, that means you know how to do that, so why aren't you doing that anymore? It's like, it feels kind of entitled, you know? You loved me once, why don't you love me still, right? And so totally loved me that he can compare them to the Grand Canyon echoing something, right? It's a big thing, like, you loved me completely, why did that stop? Why don't you do that again? Because clearly you know how. And then the second verse, if I was Paul Bunyan, I'd carry you so far away, but I'm just me, I'm only me, and you used to love me that way, so you know how to love me that way. If you're like me, which is to say, not American, you probably don't know who Paul Bunyan is, because I sure fucking didn't. Well, I might have heard his name at some point before this, but this is what made me finally fucking look him up. Paul Bunyan is this, like, folk hero in American and Canadian folklore. He's a giant, he's a lumberjack, he does all these superhuman feats of strength. He has a pet ox called Babe the Blue Ox. There's statues of him and Babe all over America and Canada. He's like this big thing there. Particularly like the parts of America that are close to Canada, like Minnesota, Wisconsin, you know, that kind of area, Michigan. I probably would have first seen him. There's a Paul Bunyan statue that you can see in the movie Fargo. At the end, well, actually, I think you might see it several times. The part I remember is at the end when she's driving back into town and she passes by the statue and the camera focuses on it. I don't know if that's the one beside Bemidji or Brainerd, but it's one of the ones in Minnesota anyway. That would have been my first kind of sight of him probably, but I don't know if I heard the name until this song maybe. It's such a strange name too. Theoretically, Bunyan might come from bon yen, which is Quebecois for like surprise, but also like it just makes you think of bunion, like a lump, a swollen lump, you know, which is an interesting thing to have. Yeah, he's one of those things where it's like he's this folkloric hero of North American loggers, but it's kind of contested as to how much of a actual folklore thing it is and how much it was made up. There's this term called fake lore, right? Where it's like it probably just was a thing that kind of someone made up like 100 years ago rather than being like a long tradition going back generations, you know what I mean? But anyway, all of this is to say, so this lyric, if I was Paul Bunyan, I'd carry you so far away, he's again referring to something superhuman. He's not the Grand Canyon. Because for the first verse, for the sentiment of it, of echoing everything you say, he could have just said like a fucking church or like a cave, like something big and echoey. But he says the Grand Canyon because he's taking it to the biggest extreme, right? Something recognizable. And same with Paul Bunyan here. He's talking about being a giant, someone who's known for his feats of strength. So I would carry you so far away, right? Again, taking this extreme example and being like, this is how much I would love you. But I'm just me. I'm only me. I'm not a giant. I'm not Paul Bunyan. I can't do this. And you used to love me that way, so you know how to love me that way. Again, putting the onus on her. You used to love me this much. Why don't you anymore? And the rest of the song is just repeating the first verse again. Although I do enjoy how it sounds like kind of an echo because it's a little bit quieter, a little bit softer in the mix. Because it starts off with, if I was the Grand Canyon. And then the third verse is like, if I was. It's like he's almost singing it to himself because he hasn't come up with a third verse or something like that. And that's pretty much the whole song. I really like it. The lyrics are really interesting to me. I love the twisting and turning of it. The mention of Paul Bunyan makes me titter. That's pretty much it. Yeah. Don't got anything else to say about this, I don't think. Thank you so much for listening. Leave a like down below, hit subscribe, post a comment about this song. Just in general, I always say that, but like particularly with this series of songs, if you have like particular favorites on 69 Love Songs, let me know because it's a long album and people are going to have different tracks. Is this your favorite? Is this kind of an underrated one for you as well, like it is for me? Let me know. Tell other people about the show, tell other people about this music. Thank you so much for listening, and I will talk to you tomorrow.
Break it down.